Cowboy Bebop reference. You're gonna carry that way. Okay, guys, welcome back to Doki Doki Blue Skies. I've decided I'm going to drink some apple tea because it is officially fall now. And because it's fall, because I'm drinking tea, I imagine we're going to be going through some heartaches. Anyway, I decided I'm going to go with Yuri's route, at least attempt to. Right now we're still at the poem stage. She's a cut above the rest, so let's get to this. She likes Inferno. Yep. And Daydream. Nope. Oh crap. She's Horror. Yep. And Tragedy. Oh crap. I keep forgetting Sayori's like all emotional and stuff. Unrestrained. Okay. Existence? Okay. Crap. Philosophy. Mausoleum. I think I'm getting back into the hang of this. Entropy. Insight. Let's throw it a boop. Boop! And extraordinary. Oh crap. Dark. Duh. Oh crap, I'm not doing so good. Agonizing. Prayer? No. Crap. Imagination. Memories. Crap. No, not that one. Tenacious. Vivid. Vivacious. There we go. Now we're on the right spot for the Yuri. Salty, fancy meeting you here. Ah, yeah. What a coincidence, huh? Seriously speaking, though, I'm happy to see you back here. I would have been disappointed if you ran away on us. Hey, I enjoyed myself last time, so why wouldn't I come back? True enough. Feel free to make yourself at home before we start our club activities. Thanks. Will do. Psychopath. Well, I'm back at the literature club. Sayori and I were the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out.
Oh, Salty, I'm glad to see you here again.
Who knew that something so simple would warrant so much thanks? First Monica, and now Yuri.
I know this must be overwhelming to be thrown into a new hobby so suddenly, much less an organization centered around that hobby. So don't hesitate to let me know if you ever need any help. Or any other club members for that matter. That is to say, feel free to ask us any of us for assistance.
I have to turn my music down. Oh my god, that's loud in my ears. Right, thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Don't worry though, it's not like I've never read anything before. I read menus off the McDonald's. I even remember to write a poem for today, if you believe it. Well, I'll believe it when we see it. Hey, it's not like I need to have a university degree to write a poem. It's just like another school assignment. Although it might be a little new to me, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to write a bad poem, you mean? She's got me there. That's why I never said I wrote a good poem. Natsuki smirks at me, seeming pleased that I'm not offended by her teasing.
Well, good. It's often subjective when it comes to subjects like these. I'm sure you did fine, Salty.
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. Try not to overhype my work, though. Heh. Yeah, Yuri, if you keep expectations low, you'll never be disappointed. Besides, I bet this is the first extracurricular Salty's done since high school started. So extra work is probably really foreign to him. Again, she's not wrong, but she doesn't have to say it like that.
Natsuki, you're being unfairly harsh. Salty, what would you say your main hobbies are?
Wow, she really put me on the spot there. I know I'm playing into teasing you. Wait, I know I'm playing into your teasing right now, but yes, I spend a lot of time playing games and watching anime. And that's all you need to know. That's a bit rich coming from someone who keeps her manga collection in the club room. What? Natsuki splutters to a halt. Looks like a certain someone knows how to dish it out, but can't take it. Manga is literature. Swiftly defeated, Natsuki pops back into her seat. She's not wrong. Don't worry, guys. Salty always gives his best as long as he's having fun. He's always been there when I need it. When we were kids, he's always been around to help me with stuff.
Oh, and you two childhood friends.
I glanced at Sayori, despite her cheery recollection of our childhood memories just then. Yuri's question is a reminder that we haven't spent much time together in a long time. It's a tad awkward. Yeah, we know each other for a while, haven't we? We smile at each other. I'm really hoping we can use this club to reconnect. Aw, should I do the Sayori route? Should we hang out with Sayori? But Yuri's a cut above the rest.
Such a history with one another. I imagine you shared much together.
You could say that. Would you believe Sayori is still as clumsy now as she was 10 years ago? Hey, meanie, that's not true. Oh, need I tell Yuri about the time you tried to cook lunch and almost set the house afire? Her face turned pink as she rushes to interrupt me. Anyway, I'm sure you two could just be as good of friends. After all, we're both in the literature club now. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yuri looks hopeful as hearing this, although I can't help but wonder. Given the maturity and intelligence she carries so elegantly, and how her passion for reading is much stronger than my own, will it be as easy as Sayori thinks it is? Still, it's worth at least a try. A try at least, I mean, Yay! Oh, Yuri even brought you something today, you know?
Wait, Sayori!
Me?
It's not much, really.
Don't be shy.
It's really nothing.
Don't be knives. Don't be the pin that I dropped that you put in your... Whatever it is, I'm sure I like it. What is it, Yuri?
Sayori made it sound like a big deal when it's really not. I was gonna wait to give it to you at the appropriate time, but...
I'm sorry, Yuri. I wasn't thinking. Now I've ruined the surprise. Dude, the two girls both look dolefully down. I mean, that's me. I guess that means it's up for me to rescue the situation. Don't worry about it. First of all, I wasn't expecting anything in the first place. So this is still a pleasant surprise to me. Aw, she's smiling. She likes my response. You know, just knowing that you went through the effort to get me something makes me really feel welcomed. Dang it, I wish people would do that. Sometimes I give people gifts and they're like, oh, thanks. And I can tell in their voice that they're not that thankful. I'm like, come on, at least give some effort. I tried. Oh, whatever. No matter what, I'm sure it'll make me happy.
Is that so?
Of course, thanks for being so considerate, Yuri.
You're welcome. It was the least I could do. Anyway, if that's the case, here it is. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. Isn't this the book from yesterday? Upon seeing the confused look on my face, she hastens to explain. I thought you might like to have your own copy so that you could read it on your own as well.
She got me the portrait of Markov, which has always been, you know, not a cursed book that's going to end up killing us all. Honestly, don't know what to say. How is it that she only known me for a day? Has she already done something that's thoughtful for me? Oh, Yuri, thank you. That's really thoughtful of you. But, did you have to do that for me? I feel kind of bad.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for that. I understand if you don't want to read with me anymore.
Honestly, she gets more adorable by the minute. Oh. Please, it's fine. I love to read it with you. I just wasn't expecting you to buy me a copy.
Are you sure? I don't want to force you.
Sure, seriously, Yuri. I'm sure, after all. I grin at her. Is it a good book? She timidly returns my smile, relaxing a little bit.
I'm glad you seem to think so. How are you liking it so far?
She looks at me with a wide, expectant eye. She must be really worried that I'm not enjoying it as much as her. To be honest, I've been pleasantly surprised. While horror isn't really my thing, it's really kept my attention. Even though I haven't gotten very far yet, I find myself feeling sorry for the protagonist. The language is pretty, engaging. It suddenly makes me think about it. As I praise the book, her face grows vividly more As I praise the book, her face grows visibly more relieved, and her eyes light up as I mention the language.
I'm glad you think so. One not only needs to look at what it is being said, but not how it is phrased. It can entirely change the desired message. Would you agree?
Oh boy, I hope we don't get into an in-depth discussion about the language. I still nowhere near Yuri's level with that sort of thing. Oh, totally. I never really thought about it until you brought it up with me. You really made me look at it with a bit more scrutiny than I would normally. She blushed at this, turning away slightly.
Really? I helped you with that?
I have to admit, you really managed to open my eyes to this sort of thing. Or should I say, my third eye! Yuri honestly makes me nervous. Did I make a mistake? Yeah, that was pretty dumb. You know, because the book mentioned the third eye and there's an eye on the cover?
Oh, I see.
Probably best not to comment on her accidental continuation of the pun. I see. I got it. That's funny. Tough crowd.
Oh, I see. You're making a joke. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Yeah, Earth to Yuri. Knock, knock, knock. No worries. I just thought it was a good pun. She smiles bashfully.
Yes, it's quite humorous, isn't it?
Phew. I think that means everyone is okay now. Now that everyone's settled in, I expect Monica to kick off the schedule activities for the club. The poetry thing, I've already steeled myself to the critique I'll probably be receiving. But it seems that we have some downtime before then. Ah well, looks like I won't be able to just immediately get it over with. What are the others doing right now? Sayori and Monica are having a cheerful conversation in the corner. I'm gonna save. I got a feeling like we're gonna get a choice. Man, they have a lot of slave spots. I didn't know they give. Did the original Doki Doki give you that many? I don't think it did. Probably discussing club matters, given that the president and vice president. As expected, Yuri's face is already buried in a book. And tea time! Oh, that's good. That's apple tea. With just a little bit of vinegar, to remind me about these girls who have a lot of vinegar. I can't help but notice her intense expression, like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. A few huffs of annoyance sounds from her direction every once in a while. I'd love to talk to Yuri a bit more, especially after she gave me that book. However, she seemed to be focusing on her own book. I'm worried I might just distract her. As she lifted up, why not go to Monica? Because if you ignore Monica, bad shit happens. As she lifted up to turn the page, I get a glimpse at the cover. It's the same book that she gave me, and it looks like she's only just started it. Oh damn, I hope she didn't think I was staring at her. Our eyes meet, but her eyes dart away quickly.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I didn't mean to stare, I was just spacing out a bit.
Oh. Well, if you had been actually concentrating, I would have noticed.
I meant to ask though, isn't that the book you gave me?
Huh. It's one of my favorites, so I thought I'd give it another read-through. Not for any other reason, I assure you.
I see, but why do you have two copies of the same book? I have a few copies of a couple books.
Well, I know I lent you the book yesterday, but I figured you might feel more comfortable with your own copy. I know that I always feel more at ease when I'm handling my own belongings. If an accident happens, there's less at stake than if you damage someone else's property, so... you're probably less clumsy than I am, though.
Yuri, the ever-graceful girl, thinks that she's clumsy. Nah, I'm pretty sure I'm just as clumsy as you, if not more so. But not as clumsy as Sayori. Oh, right. Anyway, after our meeting adjourned yesterday, I went to a bookstore to get you... that is to say, I forgot I already had a copy and accidentally bought another. It seems like a waste just to hold on to it. Could you have just returned it, though?
They're already closed, so...
She's making excuses. You bought that for Salty, and you know it. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decide to let it go. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm glad that you gave it to me. I'll just get started on it right away.
That makes me happy to hear. It's the kind of story that really draws you in. If you're not careful, you can lose track of time very easily. I know I've opened it for some light reading before bed, only to close it and find out the sun's rising.
I burped.
I'm sure that won't happen to you, though. You'll be able to get enough sleep as usual. That is, unless you generally find yourself lacking sleep, in which case you should go to bed earlier. But you could do whatever you want. I don't mean to overstep my bounds.
Hey, don't worry about it, Yuri. Be sure to read it early in the day. Do you mind telling me a bit more about it?
Oh, I'd love to. Now where do I begin?
Yuri delicately closes the book, her eyes scanning the cover.
Well, actually, I don't think I could give an adequate explanation on my own.
If I were to tell you more about the story that I did yesterday, it would lose a lot of its impact.
Forgive me if it sounds like I'm brushing you off. That's not what I intended.
It's alright, Yuri. Come to think of it, you did summarize it well enough already.
Yes. I'm sorry, I seem to get lost in my own mind whenever I talk about these kinds of stories. Don't you have anything like that, Salty?
I guess so. Yuri nods with a delicate smile.
Everyone has a deeply held interest that stirs a passion within their hearts. I suppose for me it would be a novel, and
Yuri cuts herself off as though she was about to say something she didn't want to.
Well, you know what I mean.
What's got you into the sort of stories, though? I gestured toward the book in her arms. Do your parents enjoy them as well? Yuri paused for a moment, shyly looking down at her feet. She seems to be going over what she wants to say in her head.
I've always had an interest in the macabre. The genre could easily throw you for a loop. While many stories are simply content to introduce an antagonist and conditioning their reader to root them against them, books like this one could find ways to flip their narrative on its head. So you might initially find yourself relating to the protagonist. You might suddenly find out that they're on your own worst enemy. Oh, I'm rambling, aren't I? Please forgive me. I really should try to think about others more.
Yuri, I promise I'm not mad at you. You're just passionate, which is really cool.
Is?
For a brief moment, a tiny smile teased at the corner of Yuri's mouth. Aw, it's so cute.
Well, I'm not trying to worry about it too much. But sometimes I get distracted when I think about books and writing. I forget where I am and start speaking my mind. So please forgive me if I say something unusual. If it seems like I'm not paying attention, please let me know. I really don't think you need to worry about that.
Oh, I don't really think you need to worry about that, Yuri. It always gets me. This is the literature club, after all. Isn't that the sort of thing we should be discussing anyway?
I suppose so.
So on that note, would you like to read a bit together?
You don't need to force yourself to spend time with me if you don't want to.
What if I do?
You really want to spend your time with me?
Of course, Yuri. Book in hand, I slided the decks next to Yuri's.
Ah!
Is everything okay?
Yes. I'm terribly sorry, Salty. I'm just not accustomed to reading in company. It's usually been a solitary affair for me, you see.
Yeah, I can understand how that might seem a bit unsettling for you. If it gets too overwhelming, let me know. I won't be offended if you need some space.
Alright.
Open up the book, allowing the hardcover to flop against the deck. As I read through the prologue, I noticed Yuri glancing over at my book. I'd been lying if I'd say I wasn't comfortable in a way. If it wasn't comforting in a way, but it's somewhat distracting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope I wasn't distracting you with your big old bosoms.
Yuri, why do you apologize all the time? You really done nothing wrong. Isn't that a sign of like somebody who's been like abused or something? Like somebody who's been like has like social anxiety and social mental abuse? I think so.
Do I? I can't help it. I suppose it's like an involuntary reflex. If I preemptively apologize, it lessens both my disappointment in myself as well as others' disapproval of me.
Aww. You need a pat on the head. Pat, pat.
I didn't mean to think so awkwardly, sorry. I mean...
Hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. How about we do this? I push our two desks together, then slide my book between the two of them.
Ah, I suppose that'll work.
Yuri puts her own copy away and shifts a bit closer to me. I study the right side of the book between my thumb and forefinger, and Yuri does the same with the other side. Perfect. Now we can both go through it at the same pace.
Yes.
The two of us are huddled closely together over the book, carefully reading it. I can see Yuri's gentle face in my peripheral vision. She has a stern, focused expression, her eyes slowly scanning each page.
Do you need a bit more time with this page?
Sorry, I guess I'm not really too quick of a reader. I look over and our gazes meet. There's a coy sparkle to her eyes.
It's quite alright, Salty. We could go at whatever pace you're comfortable with. After all, you've been so patient with me today. And I've only been fair for me to return the favor, wouldn't it?
Thanks. I'll try not to take too long.
I'll be sound it out.
The two of us continue reading in relatively silence. Even though we're so quiet, each turn of the page feels as though we're connected. As I let go of the page, it gently floats over to her as she delicately slides it under her thumb.
Salty?
Have you been absorbed by the story? Yuri reels me back in.
Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you.
It's fine. What were you going to say?
Well, I suppose I just wanted to thank you for this. I have always hoped I could find someone to share my interest in books with. I've never really had anyone read with me before. Having someone else be there is nice.
Really? I would have thought you had at least done some reading with your family.
Well, I did when I was younger, but...
She trails off, not finishing the thought. I decide not to press her further on it right now. Yuri takes a slow, deep breath.
I'm just happy that you're here for me.
I mean,
with you, or with me. Not that I wouldn't want you to be there for me or anything, but I can't believe I messed things up again.
Hey, Yuri. I don't think you've done anything wrong. If anything, I think of that as a compliment.
You do?
Sure, if I'm being honest, I enjoy your company as well. Okay, everyone. You just happened to cut in, haven't you? Right now. Things were getting a little bit too spicy for Monica. I think it's about time we share today's poems with each other. We might not have enough time if we wait too long.
Oh.
Yuri sighs dejectedly, looking down at the floor. Is that alright, Yuri? Better be, bitch. You look kind of down. I'm sorry if I haven't been looking for... I'm sorry if you haven't been looking forward to this.
Oh, it's not that. You just cock-block me, you bitch. Don't worry about me, I'm alright.
Yuri, let's go off to the books and... Yuri, let's go of the book and closes the cover, handing it back to me. We got through a fair bit today, didn't we? Do you mind if I continue a bit further on my own? Or would you prefer I only read it with you?
You don't have to limit yourself on my behalf if you want to keep reading. After all, I've already finished the story before.
Then I guess I'll continue reading a little bit tonight. Then we'll have a bit more to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Salty. Just be sure to let me know how far you get so I can avoid spoilers for you.
Alright. I skip to the book to find the page you left on and fold it in slightly to mark for later. By the way, you did remember to write a poem, right? Don't worry, I'm not that much of a slacker. I got it right here in my bag. I rifled through some stray papers to pull out the page that I wrote my poem on. While I can't help but feel a little nervous, I have to admit that I'm excited now. Talking to these girls has really calmed my nerves, and now I'm just eager to share my poem. After all, judging by each girl's personality, I doubt that anyone would say anything nasty about it. Well, Natsuki, I don't know if she'll be unduly harsh though. She just seems like the type of person who enjoys ribbing on her friends. Either way, I hope they realize that I put hard work into it. I figured that it's only be fair to repay their warm welcome by showing effort in club activities. Now that everyone's ready, why don't you find someone to share with? I can't wait! Sayori and Monica enthusiastically pull out their poems. Sayori is on a wrinkled sheet of loose leaf torn from a spiral notebook. On the other hand, Monica wrote hers in a neat black composition notebook. For the flesh of her victims! I could already see Monica's pristine handwriting from where I sit. She's gonna put us all to shame. Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly comply as well, reaching into their bags. Whom should I show my poem to first? When we played Doki Doki, we showed Monica first. Because she was always like, oh, well, you need to do this with... Yuri would love this. I say let's go ahead and just keep going with Monica. I should start with Monica. We have to appease her, the demon. Yesterday, she seemed eager to read my poem, and I want her to know I'm putting in effort. Hi, Salty. I hope you've been enjoying your time here. Yes, definitely. Like I've been here my whole life. I probably sound like a broken record by now, but everyone's been really welcoming. Oh, well, a broken record isn't so bad when it's playing something so nice. I guess so. This has been far from nice, Monica. Anyway, since you're new and everything, feel free to bring up any questions or concerns you might have. It's my duty as president to make sure that everything is perfect. I have to say that you've been doing a good job of that already. I doubt that I'll ever have anything to complain about. I'm shaking my head right now. Either way, I'm always open to new suggestions for the club as well. So don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. She says that, but it's gonna be a bit intimidating to try to criticize Monica, of all people. Oh, I understand. I really don't think there's going to be anything I need to speak up about either. One of these girls would probably say something before I ever needed to. Natsuki definitely would. Now that that's out of the way, feel like sharing your poem with me? I mean, I don't really have a choice in the matter, do I? This Salty seems less douchey to the girls than Salty from Doki Doki Literature Club. You shouldn't be thinking like that. Yeah, I was just joking. Kinda. It's alright, Salty. I guess this is probably really awkward for you to share creative work when you're just a beginner. Especially since the rest of us have a bit more experience than you do. That's an understatement. Don't worry though, we're all a little embarrassed today, you know? I don't think many people out there share their poetry on a regular basis. But it's the sort of things you get used to pretty quickly once you get over it. Yeah, that's true. I hand my poem over with a sigh. Don't grade me too harshly. Haha, you'll be fine. I watch nervously as she quickly scans through my poem. Huh. Good work, Salty. Really? You can lay the brutal truth on me if you want. You don't have to be so harsh on yourself. This is first time writing poetry, isn't it? That it is. Usually takes a while for people to become completely comfortable with their writing. And even then, they're constantly evolving their style and changing things up. I guess that's true. Either way, you shouldn't have high expectations for me. If you don't, my poem will seem better than when I actually put in some effort. I muttered that line half jokingly to myself, but it seems like Monica has still picked up on it. Salty. That's not very fair. More importantly, though, you should have faith in yourself. Sorry. Anyway, about your poem, the subject was deeper than I expected out of you. You just don't understand the troubled genius of my angst-riddled mind. That might have been so. I guess we have two troubled and angsty geniuses in the club then. You're talking about Yuri, right? You wrote in a style very similar to Yuri's. Her writing is full of imagery and symbolism. While Sayuri and Natsuki like to use simple and direct words to communicate their message, Yuri likes to use complex diction and syntax to allow readers to derive their own meaning of it. In other words, her vocabulary and sentence structure are usually quite involved. Yeah, that sounds like her, right? It might be a bit tough to understand her writing at first, but what seems opaque actually has very deep meaning behind it. I'm not looking forward to floundering when trying to figure out what to say about Yuri's poem later. She sounds like the sort of person an English teacher would love. Don't worry, Salty. If you just give her writing a few read-throughs, I'm sure you'll find that they're far from incomprehensible. So you say. Are you sure that my writing is similar to hers? I think it's an understatement to say I'm nowhere near her level yet. Don't worry so much about that. You do your own thing. Just keep exploring and learn by trying new things. Yeah, I'm sure I'll end up doing a lot of different things before I'm settled on my own style. And it still takes a while before I'm completely comfortable sharing my writing. That's perfectly fine. In fact, I'll probably be more surprised if you immediately started writing with your own style. Most people go through the same process that you're going through right now. Trying new things is the best way to find the kind of style that suits you, after all. Anyway, when you talk to everyone about it, naturally they'd be a bit biased towards their own kinds of styles. After all, I know I am. But don't force yourself to write in some way just because someone else wants you to. Well, that sounds good in high school, but in college, they want you to write their way. Trust me, I know that one. Excuse me. You should try to focus on what you want to do. Feel free to ask me for help anytime, though. I try to be as objective as possible when I talk to people about these topics. Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Anyway, do you want to read my poem now? Don't worry, I'm not very good. You sound pretty confident for someone who claims not to be very good. Well, that's because I have to sound confident. And I also downloaded all the human languages. I know everything. That doesn't mean I always feel the way, you know. Always on duty as club president, eh? Well, let's get to reading then. Oh, cool. We can do click the outside. Okay. This seems different from the before. The box. I see, but I don't believe. A lone fingerprint glistening on gleaming glass. Was it me? Was I always the one in the dark? I pound on the glass. My prison. Why? Why me? The pain jolts me back. The understanding power pouring down like heavy rain. It's all a farce. My heart's on display. My life but a script just playing away. The world out there has seemed so bright. It was so free. So many choices. So much potential. Maybe I couldn't have had a chance. I realize now there was never a choice. I was stuck in this box. And then on the other side chose for me. Son of a bitch! She still knows she's in a fucking video game. She still knows that it's a damn fucking program. She's gonna go suicidal. She's gonna go suicidal. Not suicidal. Homicidal. Suicidal Sayori's thing. Oh, God. So what do you think? We're all gonna die. I don't know quite how to say it. If I had the choice, I'd let you out of the box. I would get you out. We would go have a nice, wonderful date. Trust me, once you got to know me for real life, you would never want another date with me ever again. And then we'd be square. You would have your life, I'd have my life, and we would have to not kill anybody. Sorry, I'm not really the right person to ask for feedback. Oh, it's okay. I'll deal with my existential crisis on my own then. I'm sure it'll work out for me in the end. I definitely get a certain kind of feeling from reading your poems, but I'm not sure how to put that into words. I can understand that. Just try to articulate it however you want. You can use metaphors outside of poetry, you know. Well, when you put it like that, I don't know. I'd say that your poem is kind of abstract. Very vague, at least. Like, I can't quite tell what exactly you're talking about. She's stuck in a freaking computer. But even so, I can feel that's what the speaker's feeling. Yeah, I think that describes my poem pretty well. Really? I do like my metaphors. Well, you'd probably be hard-pressed to find a poem without a metaphor, actually. Yeah, they're pretty well covered in English class, at least. The ability to convey emotions and concepts through words describing things even the writer might never have experienced before. I find that really powerful. When you write metaphorically, it allows the reader to focus on the emotion in the poem. I guess it kind of opens it up for the reader to have their own interpretation. Exactly. It's fascinating when people can diverge from the creator's original intent to find their own meaning in a work of art. Yeah. What was your original intent then? I think we move forward if you try to figure it out yourself. I already know. I already played the Doki Doki Literature Club. I know where this is going. That just makes me more curious now. No! Maybe I'll tell you one day. Maybe I'll show you one day. But for now, here's Monica's writing tip of the day. Sometimes when you write a poem or anything for that matter, you get too fixated on a specific point. But if you try so hard to make it perfect, then you'll never make any progress. So that's the best thing to do, is just force yourself to get something down on paper, and then tidy it up later. Another way to think about this is, if you keep your pen in the same spot for too long, you'll just get a big dark puddle of ink. So just move your hand and write whatever is in your heart. Easier said than done. Guess what she's trying to say though is It's better to look back on your work with fresh eyes after you've gotten something down sometimes. That's my advice for today. Thanks for listening. Okay, let's start to Yuri. Yuri's eyes seem to sparkle as she reads my poem.
My goodness, this is unparalleled.
I think that might be a bit much.
Oh, forgive me if that didn't sound sincere.
Yuri first covers her mouth, but then ends up covering her whole face. Don't sweat it, Yuri. I just wasn't expecting you to hear such a compliment from you already.
I see.
Yuri clears her throat.
Well, I just wanted to say, this is truly an impeccable poem.
Yuri glances back down at my poem.
So I assume this isn't your first piece, am I correct? Your composition incorporated a lot of beautiful poetic devices and imagery indicative of an experienced writer.
Well, I hate to disappoint, but this is kind of my first time doing this sort of thing.
You're joking, right? Why, you are a writing god. I'm suddenly become religious.
I shake my head. If I end up writing a good poem, it's totally coincidental, I'm afraid.
I see. Well, in that case, I think you've got a wonderful gift. Although, if you'd like, I could offer you some advice for your future poems.
Yuri's eyes lighten up, as though she's been looking forward to this. Please do. I need all the help I can get.
I just noticed a few quality consistencies with newer writers that showed up in your poem. Perhaps what stands out the most is that you've tried very hard to make the structure of this poem your own. And that's okay, but
hey, my rendering is done.
And that's okay, but if that's the first poem you've written, it might be prudent to consider more traditional structures. Couplets, sonnets, haikus, and the like. And if you're not confident in your writing style, I'll show it in your pieces.
It's like Yuri is a total different person once she gets going. She uses big words. She sounds incredibly confident, stands tall, speaking clearly.
Again, that's not your fault. I think that once you study poetic structures, techniques a bit more, you'll be able to put together a truly wonderful composition.
I appreciate the feedback, Yuri. It sounds like you're well versed in that sort of thing.
My throat is starting to hurt. Yuri's voice makes my throat hurt.
Would it be okay if I took a look at what you've written?
Oh, goodness, of course.
Will it be the ghost one? That's the one thing I also wanted to point out. I'm pretty sure the box was a whole new poem from Monica. Because her first one was like the whole, am I looking in, is she looking through, you know? So that's interesting.
Please let me know what you think. I'm thrilled to explain my process.
Yuri smiles dreamingly as if there's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, is it that supposed to be a literature club? Yep, Tumble, that's a new one. It is smaller, it's not bigger. Hey, Tumble. Hail falls down like discarded dust of overused emotions, dragging down blankets made of want. Slender strings pierce my eyelids, barely painful, and pulls them shut. Ever so heavy, ever so heavy. I think I've misplaced something. Is there a piece missing? You need all the pieces to fix something. Please don't look for it. There are more important things for you to do today. Huh. Tumble. Hail falls down the discarded like those overused emotions. I'm not exactly sure what this is about. Interesting. Okay.
I'm sorry if my writing's a bit illegible. Once my pen touches the paper, It's
beautiful, Yuri.
Want to get my thoughts down?
It's fine, Yuri. I was able to read it just fine. I wasn't thinking that at all. Actually, I like your small poems better than the one in the original game, because that one hurt my head.
Are you sure? It seems to take you a while to read it.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't see cursive often. But it's really nice that I do. When I do, your writing actually quite pretty.
Is that so? I'm glad you think so.
I made your poems stand out even more as well. It's as though your handwriting fits your word choice, or vice versa.
Or was it too short, was it? I'm used to writing longer pieces, but since this is my first time we're sharing, I thought it'd be easier to share.
That makes sense. Don't you mind telling me about what it... Do you mind telling me what it's about, though? I'm not sure I understand. Yeah, I'm kind of...
Sorry, I didn't mean to write something confusing.
Oh, it's not that. I just want to be sure I'm reading it properly.
I see. I suppose from a cursory glance, it might not be obvious, but part of what does poetry magical is how you can conjure up a vivid image with your own words. While on the surface it might seem a bit out there, if you look a little deeper, you might be able to find a deeper meaning hidden amongst the lines, comprehended by the metaphor used. For example, the words and images of the poem aren't meant to be taken at face value. It actually is supposed to represent the last remnants of something lost in the past, and the sense of plaintive longing that comes with it.
That's pretty impressive when you put it that way.
You really think so? That might be a bit much, Salty.
No, I really mean it. I think I could learn something from your poetry, Yuri.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
You know, at first the prospect of sharing my writing was terrifying, but I'm really glad I was able to do it. Hopefully I can write another piece that you'll like, Salty.
I look forward to it, Yuri. Natsuki or Sayori? Let's do Sayori. You said this is your first poem, right? Yeah, why? It's impressed me. Especially for your first poem. Maybe this really is the place for you. Oh, come on, it's not that good. I mean, it's not like I'm used to writing poems or anything. But thanks, I guess. Don't be so hard on yourself, Salty. Everyone has to start from somewhere. You're already off to a good start. Anyway, I guess I can show you mine now. Don't expect too much, though. I'm not very good at this. I remember your last one was about getting breakfast. Only one way to find out. Dear Sunshine. This is... Oh, it is the same one. This one is. The way... Dear Sunshine, the way you... Maybe the girls you choose have different poems. Or maybe they occasionally just put in some of the old ones anyway. Dear Sunshine, the way you glow through my blinds in the morning makes me feel like you missed me. Kissing my forehead to help me out of bed. Making me rub the sleepy from my eyes. Are you asking me to come out and play? Are you trusting me to wish away a rainy day? I look above. The sky is blue. The sky is blue! Doki Doki blue skies! Confirmed! It's a secret, but I trust you too. If it wasn't for you, I could sleep forever. But I'm not mad. I want breakfast. Well, what do you think? I hesitate as I answer. It's not that it was a bad poem. In fact, it was great. I'm just really inexperienced with poetry, especially feedback. It's really you, Sayori. What's that supposed to mean? As in, the poem just really reminds me of you. Made me feel really good inside. Really? Yeah, I had no idea what to expect. This is my first time reading your poetry. But the way this was written, I don't know, it feels really wholesome and cheery. Like you are. I also really like the last line. Trust you of all people to include breakfast in their poems. Hey, I was eating it when Sayori stopped speaking immediately as if she accidentally let something slip. See, in the last one, Salty called her out on it. He said, hey, you were writing this as you were eating your breakfast. She accidentally made this slip now. So this Salty in this, he's acting like, you know, he's not wanting to trigger these girls too much. I don't know if that's just kind of out of a kindness, or he somewhat remembers certain events might transpire if he's mean to these girls. You know. Oh, so you wrote this poem this morning? No. Maybe. Forgot to write it last night. Well, at least we know where your inspiration comes from. Eggs and toast. Well, I suppose it sounds silly, but it works. Then it isn't silly. Either way, thanks for showing me your poem, Sayori. It was really good. I'm happy you think so. Anyway, next time I won't forget. Tomorrow's poem will be even better. I'll hold you to that. Now we got Natsuki. Salty, if you're not gonna try, then you're better off just leaving the club. Wow, she just went straight for the jugular. Jeez, you don't beat around the bush, do you? Why should I? This is just plain bad. Hey, do I look like a writer? This was my first poem. Yeah, it's probably garbage, but I still tried. Everyone else loved it. If you're so confident, let's see the first poem you wrote, huh? Hard to think about it. Fine. I'm, sorry if you're offended. Way to avoid a direct apology. But next time, at least try a little bit harder. No way to go but up, huh? Yeah, sure, whatever. Just read my poem. Knowing you probably hate it. Sometimes, some folks are winners. Some only lose. Some are go-getters. Some only cruises. Sometimes we try hard. We give it our all. Sometimes we give up. What else can we do? So this one's different too. But it's kind of also in the same format. Told you you'd hate it. Actually, I like it. What? Don't you say it's good because I'm a girl. Be honest. What? No, it was nothing to do with you being a girl. I genuinely like your poem. Really? Yeah, it's simple, but it's still pretty effective. Finally! Someone who gets it! People in high school think poetry has to be formal and vague. And they don't realize that simple writing is just as effective, if not more. The reader shouldn't have to search for the meaning. That's just stupid. Besides, the simpler the writing, the more emphasis on wordplay. Like how I made most of the lines start with some. Yeah, I noticed that. Maybe the last couplets seem more powerful. Yes, that's exactly what I'm going for. Well, good job then. Ha! Didn't expect that from the youngest of the club, did ya? Yeah, I guess not. That's everybody. Phew. Guess that's everyone. I glanced around the room. They were surprisingly fun, albeit a bit stressful. I already knew that I wouldn't be able to write the quality of the girls, but I trust my best. It's funny that Natsuki is fully just like, you suck, get out of here. It's like she has like no love interest in me. Unless she has gone full tsundere, which is hard to see Natsuki going even more tsundere than tsundere. Everyone here is incredibly talented. Well, all the girls at least. Across the room, Sayori and Monica are happily chatting again. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper. Oh, they hate each other too, sharing their respective poems. As I watched Natsuki breeze through Yuri's poems, her eyes skipped over the words. Meanwhile, Yuri stares at the page in her hand, smiling sadly. Natsuki quickly hands Yuri her poem back. Here, I'm done. Already? Yeah, it's not like it was super hard to read. It's not illiterate, you know? It was hard for me to understand, at least. I just want to make sure that you caught all the figurative languages that I employed. Yeah, I did. It was fancy. Thanks. However, I believe that you enjoyed it more if you looked deeper into it. I enjoyed it plenty already. Anyway, are we finished with my poem then? Yeah, yours is, cute. Cute? Didn't you learn anything from our conversation yesterday? Yuri looked shocked, regrettably seeping into her expression. Seems like both girls are still holding their own prejudice, despite whatever common ground they have. How can it be cute? You're standing there thinking that I haven't read your poem when it's really you who hasn't read mine. It's clearly about the push and pull between giving up and trying hard. I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. Well, maybe you should look deeper in my poem. Because I use the type of language on purpose. I see. But if I may give you a suggestion, the more involved subject matters may be better suited to more complex dictation. The art of poetry is deeply intertwined with... Look, I know what you're trying to do, but it won't work on me. I'm sorry, but I don't quite understand. This kind of... Oh, I think that was her. I don't quite understand. Was that her? I want to look at the history. Yeah, it was Yuri. I'm sorry, but I don't quite understand. The kind of thing only works on amateurs like Salty. Ouch. I didn't like where this conversation is headed. Writing it this way doesn't make you look cool or smart, okay? It just makes you look super pretentious. If you write with a thesaurus open next to you, you're just going to alienate your everyone. You just all these big words to make up for the lack of depth. Poetry isn't about impressing people, so you can just stop. Holy crap. I stare wide-eyed at Monica and Sayori, who have now also fallen silent. They stare back at me, looking unaware of what to do. I'm guessing that you don't usually have many arguments in the club. Although tension between Natsuki and Yuri always seemed kind of high.
Lack of depth?
Yeah, that's right. So if I could give some suggestions now.
Excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I really must ask. What makes you believe that I accept your advice after you've been so rude to me?
Rude? That was just blunt honesty.
You. Do you ever consider the other people don't hold the same opinions as you?
What are you trying to say?
Do I really need to spell it out for you?
Yeah, you do. I want to see if you're really going there.
The irony.
I dare you to say it.
Yuri gives a small laugh of disbelief. I must thank you, Natsuki. I've never been this angry in my life. It actually gives me the courage to speak up. Is this why you're angry all the time?
Yeah. Guys, we should.
This doesn't involve you.
Sayori, please don't rob me of any... Sayori, please don't rob me of my moment. Oh, wait. Crap. I threw myself off.
Sayori, please don't rob me of my moment.
So this is your moment to shine or something? Strange thing to take pride in, don't you think?
No. And my moment to finally speak my mind.
Yuri has gotten, you know, she got some confidence all of a sudden. Well, I still have the strength to. Yuri. Natsuki, have you ever realized how selfish you are? Saw that Yuri seems to be overpowered everyone else in the room. What?
Everything always needs to go your way. You always jump to conclusions and make harsh decisions without regard for the consequences. It's never your fault, is it?
You don't know me.
No, you don't know me either. And yet you speak as if you know everything about me. Quite simply, you don't. The very fact you don't think that you bluntly...
Damn, Yuri.
The very fact you don't think that your blunt honesty was incredibly rude just goes to show how narrow-minded you truly are.
Seizing her a moment, Yuri boldly carries on, disdain dripping with each word.
I know it must be a difficult concept for you to understand, but the whole world doesn't revolve around you and your manga. So tell me, why should I take advice from someone who can only see their own perspective? Everyone knows it. Monica, Sayori, even Salty.
Why'd you call me out like that?
Don't you remember how hostile you were to Salty when he first joined us?
I wasn't being hostile. We haven't had a new member in a long time. Sorry, not sorry for keeping on my toes. That's how I talk to everyone, not just Salty. Am I supposed to change my whole personality to cater to how you think I should be? If Salty has a problem with my jokes, he can tell me. You don't get to speak for him. Yuri closes her eyes and shakes her head, carrying on as if she didn't hear the outburst.
Do you really expect a new member to be able to speak up so easily? Not everyone is as afraid of being a brutish cretin as you.
What?
The rest of us were so excited to have a new member, but did that thought ever cross your mind? No, you just let your own selfish thought dictate your behavior.
Selfish? They would sell.
You could scare him off. That might have been what you wanted, but what about the rest of us? You could have scared him off. I'd explain for myself, for God's sake. But as per usual, you aren't listening.
You know, for someone who's been ranting on about how narrow-minded I am, was that... Whatever. You know, for someone who has been ranting on about how narrow-minded I am, you're pretty intolerant yourself. There, I used a big word. Do I sound like Shakespeare yet? Am I worthy of your attention now? Ouch, both girls really have their claws out. Also, Monica and Sayori didn't have any issues with me yesterday. It's just you. Man, are they fighting over Salty, or is they just really fighting for themselves? Because it doesn't seem as salty themed as the last time they were fighting.
Of course they did, Natsuki. They just didn't say anything. Monica is too responsible and Sayori too kind. So why don't we ask Salty then, as the more unbiased spectator?
Fine. Salty, who's right, me or Yuri? How did I get dragged into this in the first place? I don't even know what they want me to decide on at this point. Should I just ignore all the personal stuff, or just talk about their poetry? That's what started the argument, after all. But it's not like I'm a good judge of writing quality, given that I'm just a beginner. I don't think it'd be fair for me to take either side either, especially since I'm new here. Maybe I should defer to one of the club leaders. Oh. So of course that's going to be... I could go for Monica! But... I honestly don't know what to do in this situation. I quickly glance over to Monica. Monica nods at me and approaches the two girls. Yuri and Natsuki, this is... She clears her throat. Is it just me, or did her confident persona seem to waver a bit? This is no way to act in our club. Monica does seem sort of disoriented. She's probably not used to being so confrontation. You're kind of setting a bad example. Salty probably really uncomfortable. Not to mention that there's really no reason for this argument to be happening. But Monica! No, I can't. I can't have this in my club. Are you kidding me? Don't you see how Yuri's treating me? She's been a massive jerk right now. There's so much reason for this argument.
Excuse me, Natsuki, but it's actually your own toxic behavior that led to this.
Yuri really emphasizes that toxic bit. Toxic behavior? What are you talking about? Are you even listening to yourself? This is exactly why no one wants to be your... Enough! Enough! And it's like the whole world just shatters. Monica seems to have gotten over herself and now looks livid. You guys are supposed to be friends, aren't you? It's so foolish how you two are acting. Don't you have any consideration for the other club members? You're even making Salty uncomfortable. Yuri, didn't you say yourself that you wanted to make him feel as welcome as possible? What happened to that?
I didn't mean to make him feel that way.
And don't forget, Sayori, she's always act in everyone's best interest. While you two... And don't forget Sayori, she always acted in everyone's best interest, while you two act like this. I wasn't trying to do anything either, I'm just being honest. Yuri is... Let me finish, Natsuki. I would ask you to please reconsider the way you are treating one another. You guys are obviously talented with your writing skills, and you both have unique aspects to your writing styles. That's what makes you guys special. To be fair, I'm honestly not good with handling situations like this, but there's a sudden pause for a minute, and I decide to break the silence. I agree with Monica. Fighting will only cause everyone to split apart, and to be honest, I really like it here. I believe if there were any resentment held over it, it just wouldn't be the same. Both girls are speechless. Yuri's the first to speak.
I'm just gonna make tea.
Natsuki remains silent and takes a seat, only to stare into nothingness. Oh, that was interesting. I'm gonna drink some tea too. Oh, that's good. Good for my throat. It's interesting because in the original DDLC, we went with Sayori's. Sayori broke them up, and she was all kind about it. Monica was all like in there. She was like, "Oh, got hair and blood and guts in my teeth." Okay. I slide next to Sayori. Man, I can see why she's president. Yeah, she is pretty great. Even though she doubts herself, I think she handled that pretty well. Monica seems like a genuine, sweet girl. Maybe in this reincarnation. Hopefully I've been able to properly get to know her during the school year. Hopefully I'll get to know her. Okay, everyone. It's just about time for us to leave. How did y'all feel about sharing your poem? I noticed that she carefully avoided mentioning the argument that just occurred. It was a lot of fun.
Some moments were worth it.
It was alright, well, mostly. Salty, how about you? I actually really enjoyed myself. It seems I did like expressing myself through poetry. A lot more than I initially thought. Everyone looked intently at me, the girls smiling at me. Oh, they're all smiling. They're all in sizes, too. It was really cool to get to see everyone's different writing styles. That's awesome. In that case, we'll do the same thing tomorrow. And hopefully you learned something from us too. So your poems will turn out even better. Yeah. I think to myself a bit as I begin to pack up. Today I managed to learn more about the kind of poems that everyone likes. With any luck, I'll be able to learn more about the girls as individuals through their themes and messages. I nod to myself, turning to Sayori. Hey Sayori, ready to walk home? Sure. Okay, see you guys tomorrow then. And as we leave the club room, Sayori turns back to wave at the girls. I do the same. Natsuki smiles and then quickly looks away to act like she doesn't care. Aww. Yuri awkwardly smiles and nods. And as expected from the school idol, Monaco gives a friendly grin and waves back. Sayori, about what happened earlier. What do you mean? You know, between Yuri and Natsuki. I remember you told me yesterday that they sometimes bicker, but are all their arguments normally that bad? First she said that rarely ever, in the first one she said that didn't happen at all. Like, they never fought. Felt a little guilty as I asked her, as I know she doesn't like talking about conflict. There's a slight dip in the cheeriness of her voice as she replies, No, not at all. They have their differences, but it's the first time I've ever seen them fight like that. They're both wonderful people, I promise. You don't hate them or anything, do you? No, not at all. It's only normal for people to argue, I guess. I was just curious. After all, you know them better than I do. So lets out a relieved sigh. You know, Salty, it's been so nice seeing you again. I didn't really think we'd get to spend that much time with one another again. Yeah, tell me about it. It's been really fun hanging out again. I don't really know when we started drifting or why. Guess there was just life coming between us. She nods, looks a little reflective. Still, I'm glad you let me join your club. I'm not going to lie, at first I was a bit doubtful when you told me it was about literature. But hey, I guess it's just to show you that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Oh, she giggles and I frown. Did I say something funny? Yeah, you did, Salty. Nice pun. Did you even realize it? Huh? Pun? Oh, you mean about the book comment? Oh, this is the literature. Oh, man. Jeez, looks like the club's really starting to rub off on me, isn't it? Sayori might be known as a bit of an airhead, but sometimes she can really notice that things that others don't. I wonder what it is really like inside her head. No. You haven't changed at all, Salty. You already knew how to make me laugh. I blushed silently. I never really knew how to react to the compliment, especially when it comes from someone of the opposite sex. Well, you say thank you. I'm glad I'm still able to do that. I'll be honest though, I didn't think I'd make many new friends by joining the club. Well, they're a really nice bunch. I'm not surprised. Yeah, a pretty warm welcome. She nods contently. Anyway, let's see what the future holds. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, see you tomorrow. The girls are all interesting characters, aren't they? Different personalities and a variety of writing styles. Yet they all united under the same club. I believably wonder how Monica founded all of them. In just 2 days, I feel like I've made progress with each member. Getting to know Yuri and Natsuki, actually getting to talk to Monica a little bit, and of course, reuniting with my old friend. I never would have guessed this would have all come from joining the club, but hey, I'm not complaining. Let's just hope my writing improves over time so I can write poems of a standard more like theirs. Speaking of which, there's work to be done tonight. Let's do this. Yay! Second poem time. Can I impress Monica now? I want a Monica route. I love that animation style. It's awesome. Guys, we're gonna be going. This is the end of this episode. I hope you all are enjoying this. I'm glad to be back. I love Doki Doki Literature Club. So, we'll probably still go with the Yuri route, but I'll see you all in the next one. Let's see if there's any secrets. Yep. Bye-bye.